Hey everyone, welcome back. Okay, so the boys are occupied for the next 15 minutes or so, and I want to give you a rundown of how I do my makeup when I have just a small window of time. So I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. It may take a little longer than 15 minutes because I'm going to try to talk around about it, but we'll see how it goes. So what I'm going to do, I've already moisturized and primed my face. For primer lately, I've been using the e.l.f. Poreless Face Primer. Poreless Face Primer. I really like using e.l.f. products. I've been using their moisturizers as well. So I've already done all that. It's been sitting on my skin for a minute and we'll just get into it. So, okay. I'm going to use the Wet n Wild, what is it? The Photo Focus Foundation. Wet n Wild is a great cruelty-free beauty product. I remember wearing their stuff when I was really little, and I was all about the what they had, like a pink frosted lipstick that I really dug. And when I was in 7th grade, I really liked doing that super dark lip pencil with light lipstick look. Yeah, that was a good one. Okay, my beauty blender is wet, by the way. There's no sense in using a beauty blender when it's dry. It's just going to soak up all of your product. And you want to pat that on to the areas that you want the coverage. It just helps to melt it into the skin. And my septum retainer is falling down. That's a good look, always. Okay, so this next step, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. It just depends. All right, well, septum retainer is going to stay down. What are you going to do? Okay, so depending on how much sleep I've been getting, depends on how much concealer I use. So I haven't been getting a whole lot of sleep lately. Dana's been going through a growth spurt, which is good times. So I am going to do a little concealer underneath my eyes. I'm using the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I'm also going to do just a little on my nose and a little on my chin. I've been slightly spotty lately, so thanks hormones. And then I'm just going in with my beauty blender just to dab that out. So like I said, sometimes I don't do concealer. It really depends. You certainly do not have to do concealer. But any spots that you need a little bit extra. And just blend that out. Oh, I'm nervous today. Maybe it's because there's a clock running. It'll probably do it, right? It's the final countdown. I don't own the rights to that music though, so we won't be playing that song. Okay, so powder. I'm going to use the NYX No Filter Powder. This stuff I find is really comparable to the MAC Mineralized Powder. If you've ever used that before, I used that for a long time. And I'm really oily, so I powder everywhere. You don't have to. I would say just powder on the areas where you tend to break down makeup a little bit faster. But for me, that's everywhere. All right. So I like to do a little bit of highlight and contour I don't know. I just do. It's just a bandwagon that I'm very much on. So I have been using and loving, you can see how loved this is, the Wet n Wild contouring palette. Literally like best $5 I've ever spent. I use kind of stiff flat brush like that. I'm going to blow off the excess. You can tap off the excess. And I go right under my cheekbone. So I would love to be able to do all of the contouring with creams, but the reality is that most days that's just too time consuming for me. So if you do have time to do that, God, that's awesome. I'm jealous. I just don't have time to do that. I'm also going to do a little bit under my chin. So yeah, I would love to sit there and think that like everything could be super, super precise. But it's just, you know, good enough. Okay, so for highlighter, I love the Anastasia Beverly Hills, the Illuminators. This particular color is Starlight. They have a bunch of different colors though, whatever works for your skin tone. And then I do that along the tops of my cheekbones. I like to do some, again, because like I said in my first video, I like to overdraw my lips. I like to do my Cupid's bow as well. And I also do a little just down the center of my nose. Just like that. Highlighted. Okay, so next up, I'm going to do a blush. So my recommendation with blush is I always tend to do something that's just as neutral as I can possibly get it. I don't know what I'm going to wear that day. Sometimes I don't know what lipstick I'm going to wear. I'm using Warm Soul by MAC. I use this blush more often than not. But realistically, anything that has that just neutral, like not too pink, not too brown, just goes with everything. Every line has one. This one has lasted me for a ridiculously long time. We're starting to creep towards the bottom of it though, so it'll be time for a new one here pretty soon. And I do that, okay, so the first place you put your brush is where you're going to apply the most product. I should have said that before. So I like to start at the apples of my cheeks and then bring it out up my cheekbones. Because think of it as where you naturally blush. Where do you see the bulk of that color? It's going to be on the apples of your cheeks, or if you're like me, all over your chest. So, all right, I'm going to do a little eyebrow action. I do have my eyebrows microbladed, so if I don't want to do brows, I still feel like my brows are more defined just as it is. But I do most days like to do a little something. I'm going to get my brush wet. This is a Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen bottle of water that I have had since I was like probably about 20 years old. So I like to get my brush wet. I just use a little eyeshadow for my brows. I'm using Omega by MAC and an angle brush. So I like to carve the line along the base of my brow first. And then along the top, just to kind of block out that shape. And then without picking up any more product, I use short strokes, just really short strokes to start filling it in. Okay, so I am going to get my brush just a little bit wetter. And then for the front part of my brows, you can do this dry too. I like to do short, more upward strokes to create that look of hair. Because the reality is, I was a teenager in the 90s, and my tweezers were my best friend, and my brows fell victim to most of my angst. So I don't have a whole lot of hair left in my natural brow, and they start pretty far apart. So I like to bring them in quite a bit closer. Reality is my brows take me longer than anything else in my makeup. But there are my brows. Just peeking at the clock. Okay, we got 4 minutes left. We're doing good. All right, so what do I want to do next? Let's throw a little eyeshadow on there. Just a little bit. So any mid-tone brown, this one is Kid by MAC, and a kind of a mid-size fluffy brush. Pull it through the crease like those little windshield wiper motions. Little circular motions to blend it out. I just want to create a little bit of depth and dimension. I'm not trying to do a whole heck of a lot. Just like that. Okay. One of the other things that I always do is a white pencil in my waterline. This is a great way to fake a couple hours of sleep, to make the eyes appear larger. This is Milk Jumbo Pencil by NYX. They are super affordable. This thing is gigantic. You will have it for ages. A little bit of white in my waterline. It just opens everything up. Also, as you blink, it kind of distributes and quiets down a little. So then I'm going to take a little pencil brush. This has some of that mid-tone brown that I did as my crease color. Only reason it has it on there right now is because my brushes are dirty. That's something I could stand to do more of, is washing my brushes. So all I'm doing is like right under the lashes. Just bringing that across. Okay. Mascara. So this is, friend turned me onto this. It is the Lash Extending Mascara by e.l.f. Gosh, I love e.l.f. stuff. Okay, it's got this, I hope you can see that, this awesome little spoolie brush. Makes it really, really easy to get in there and coat each lash. Throw some on those lower lashes. With mascara, realistically, you'll find the product you love. Mascara is such a loyalty product. You know, you find a brush that you like and you'll use it forever. I feel like it always comes down to the brush. So I like this one because it's going to comb as it coats. Okay, so real talk, that's pretty much it. We're at 14 minutes right now, so why don't we throw a little lip on? This is the NYX Morocco that I used in my first video. All right. There we go. So for me, all I have left to do is take a little concealer to my heart tattoo so that I can clean off product. But that right there is a 15-minute makeup with talking. So think about if you are home and just doing it yourself and not trying to talk to a camera and a whole lighting setup and all that. Quick and easy. You can totally do it if you want to. Lip color can be whatever you like. From here too, sometimes I'll find myself with like another 15 minutes later in the day, and if I want to, I can bump up my eyes if we're doing something that evening. But realistically, like this is how I wear my makeup more often than not. So if you have any time-saving tricks, if there's anything that you think I should be doing differently or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. But I hope that you got something out of this. I hope that you can see that you don't have to take a lot of time with your makeup to still feel pulled together. I love watching tutorials that are longer, and I so appreciate the artistry that goes into it. But again, I think that there's a little bit of a gap for what's missing there. So yeah, if you like this, if you want to see more like this, like, subscribe, comment down below, and I really appreciate all the love on my last video. I'm hoping that they'll just keep getting better and better. So thanks again, and I will see you next time.